back from the field days. How did it go down there?
Yeah, the field days were pretty good. I mean, for Southland, we had four absolutely glorious days. I mean, it rained a little bit on the Tuesday when we were setting up. It cleared up in the afternoon and we had sunshine. I mean, the experience of going to Southern Field Days is that you generally get one mud day.
Yep.
No mud days. Southland, like a lot of the other parts of New Zealand, is you could say it's probably in need of a little bit of rain. They're on, most of the people down there that we spoke with are on irrigation restrictions because they're all connected to the rivers. And probably, because of the dairy, I guess, it was a pretty subdued field day. There were people around, but not busting the wallets out, and there certainly went piles of $20 notes flying around. But yeah, very subdued. But this is one of the years, and next year we'll look forward to next year.
Well, they're planning ahead as well, aren't they? They'll be looking at gear and saying, well, not this year, I can't justify it, but next year, make sure you got one in the yard.
Yeah, so Southern Field Days were very good. I mean, we had a very good Southern Field Days. Yep.
You've been saying for ages, and people have been going, Tony, Daveron, you've got to be joking, it's all over, but it's not.
No, it is not all over. I mean, if you go into, for example, some of the areas that, around that sort of 21st, 22nd of January, got really good rainfalls in that southern part of Canterbury, parts of the North Island. I mean, Hawke's Bay had some really good rainfalls. You go back to those areas now and they'll be going, where did that rain go? And it has gone. I mean, if you look at the weather we've had, particularly the last 2 weeks, it's been a little bit overcast occasionally, but we have had some very hot days. And that's pretty typical of when we get into that middle part of February, particularly, or the latter half of January, middle half of February. Right now we have the peak solar radiation coming in. I mean, that's just the way solar radiation works. It lags behind the longest day by about 4 to 5 weeks. And we're 4 to 5 weeks past the longest day, and so we're getting the hottest temperatures, clear skies, lots of solar radiation, and everything is just smoking along.
The crops are looking great now.
Oh, well, you go and talk to the arable farmers right now. Maybe 2 weeks ago they might have been looking
the bit of grass that had been cut.
It had been sitting on the ground. They get rain on it, but now they're flat into harvest. They're just knocking stuff over left, right, and centre. Grain moistures are fine. Not a lot of drying will have to take place this year. We've got great harvest weather at the moment, and baling weather, of course. They can harvest, bale, paddocks clean. So from that point of view, there's always a silver lining for somebody and a less silver lining for the others. So anybody that's pastoral in particular or not in the harvest mode, they've certainly got to be irrigating flat out really at the moment. There's no respite. There really isn't any respite in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I don't think.
And there's still water under there, though?
Yeah, there is still water. We've still got water. Look, I haven't looked at any of the rivers or anything, but either in the North Island or the South Island. But groundwater's not a problem in both the North Island and here, particularly the Hawke's Bay area, and up through the Matamata area into Pukekohe. They're fine. There's groundwater available. It's just when it doesn't rain, then the rivers end up not being able to supply us with all the water we need.
And of course, we've still got quite a long way for the pastoral guys.
Yes, we do. I mean, we're still looking at potentially another 2 months of irrigation. We're halfway through February. We've got to get to the middle part of April before we're really getting into that time of the year when you can start really think about, well, I'm going to skip a few. I'm only going to irrigate once this week with a pivot, for example. Might just lengthen my round with the other irrigators. But we've still got another 2 solid months ahead of us.
But those dews aren't doing anything, are they?
No. I mean, the thing about the dews is if you've got a dew, it's no longer on your boots, when you walk through it, the benefit of the dew's gone. Now, the benefit of the dews is at the moment here is gone by about 9 o'clock in the morning. So we've got a very long period during the day when things are growing flat out, transpiring flat out, and still using lots of water. So we're not getting a lot of benefit out of the dews. When your boots are still wet at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then you're starting to get some real benefit out of the dews.
So check the boot.
Yeah. it's not an old wives' tale, but it's a really good indicator that there's moisture around that can be evaporated and do what you need from the transpiration process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So as far as crops are concerned, the pressure's obviously off now.
Yeah, pretty much the pressure's off for the crops. I mean, we've still got a lot of stuff like maize and some of the carrot seed and some of the radish seed that's still ticking along. And they'll be starting to think about getting paddocks ready again for next seasons. You know, the likes of ryegrass and clover will start going back into the ground shortly. So they'll be preparing some of those paddocks, and they'll use some irrigation to get the seed bed right, get it up, get it struck, irrigate it again to take it into the winter. Yeah.
I suppose people are direct drilling too to conserve moisture.
Yeah, there is more direct drilling or
minimal cultivation, or whatever the
minimal
present
cultivation.
term is.
Yeah, there is a lot more of that being done, but you know a lot of it you've still got to incorporate that stubble at the top or anything that's on the top, just to make sure that not bury it, but just incorporate it so that it starts to break down and go from residue into organic matter. So
are you surprised that we've got through as well as we have?
Yeah, I am relatively surprised. I think the fact that if we hadn't had the rainfalls we got in January, we would be in a much more serious or much more limited situation than we are right now. We were very fortunate to get bits and pieces of rain around New Year, about the 2nd or 3rd of January, all across both North Island, South Island. And then we got another, in the South Island, we got another rainfall around that 21st, 22nd of January. North Island got some the week before that. They had that, can't remember the name of the storm, I think it was Roy.
Whatever it was.
Whatever it was, but they kept getting dribs and drabs of rain, which hung around in January, but it's gone. The last part of January and February now, it's gone. So we've had 3 weeks now of pretty intense water use. And we're back where we were pre-Christmas.
Yeah, and that's going to hang around. It's going to be around.
It's going to be around for a while. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so no relenting, keep going.
And you were saying anything about the autumn and winter?
I've been a bit silent lately, really. Haven't heard anything from them. But certainly, I mean, the last time I looked at the indicators for El Nino, they had all strengthened again. So we'd gone into a bit of a waning pattern, but the pressures, the temperatures, the Southern Oscillation Index were all pointing to it strengthening up again going into the autumn.
Tony, thank you very much indeed.